on. Yes, we've had a few technical issues, but it wouldn't be Everything Yowie without that happening. It's probably my fault. I'll take the blame. I always do.
It was.
But anyway, this is the first time that we've had a special guest, and she's not very special anyway. But anyway, talk about my co-host. He's joining me as per usual, and he's been described by scholars as the original thong hiker. If you look up in Trove on the internet, you will find him under the tag "Man Who Hikes in Thongs." He's also been named to capture red eye shine behind the Maccas in Queanbeyan, where the garbage bins are located. Mr. David Reid, yay!
Oh, yeah, thank you for the introduction, mate.
I had to do a very special one for you. So, first of all,
You're the one wearing thongs today, got all the leeches, so...
Well, yeah, they're the things you got to do before, you got to go through the hardships to find things. And if you don't wear thongs, you'll never find them. And I had really cushy thongs indeed. But before we get to you, Rochelle,
Yes.
I want to ask Dave one thing about the Golden Thong Awards. And
Oh, he's frozen.
He's frozen.
Oh, God.
This is such a buggy platform, it really
24.
is.
Oh, we're back. No,
We're back. We didn't hear you for a while.
you froze.
you always
Now we can't hear you at all.
you can't
I
hear me
can.
at all.
Now I can hear
I
you.
can. Yeah, we're
Okay,
right.
it's I think it's the storm that's going over. It's Rochelle's problem because it's over her way at the moment. So
It is.
what I wanted to talk about, Dave, is the Golden Thong Award. Who is your leading contender that you reckon will take out the Golden Thong Award and why?
Alf.
Alf.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's Alf from Alf's Bigfoot. So anyone that doesn't know what the Golden Thong Award is, and the Golden Thong Award is for the biggest idiot, pretty much, in the Yowie world, posting crap. So in the group that I run, it's really not a research group. It's just the Yowie forum, and we discuss anything or that's going on in the Yowie world, good or bad, mostly bad because there's always so many idiots. And we hold the Golden Thong Award. Last year's winner was Stats. I think the 2 years prior to that was the Chaser, and before that was your old mate, Paul Slapper McLeod. So, Dave, what do you reckon happened to Slapper before we start talking to Rochelle?
I don't know. He just evaporated.
Do you reckon COVID?
Could have been COVID. The timing was right.
Yeah, time it was, wasn't it?
No, he just deleted everything, and he had a Mars site that had thousands and thousands and thousands of people following it, and he deleted that. He just disappeared.
He did, didn't he? Anyway, we'll get to our special guest. Her name's Rochelle. You can see up the top there it says Rochelle. So Rochelle has been interested in Yowies for a while now, and she has teamed up with Dave and Vlad, and they recently went down to Talaganda, which is an area down around the Canberra area. So I want you guys to talk about your experience down Talaganda. I think it was last week or the week before, and what happened and the results that you guys got.
Well, it was last weekend. It was last weekend. And so, there was, 4 of us and Vlad's son. So we had, Dave, Vlad, myself, and Vlad's son, and Jason, and Jason came along. He just left at the end of the night and didn't stay overnight. But after he left and just after Vlad went to bed with his son, Dave and I happened to get some amazing big red eye shine. We reckon it was about 50 meters away. And Dave says, it was the biggest and the reddest eyes he's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
They were
Yeah,
huge.
they were really, really bright. They were very, very bright red, and yeah, they really stood out. One eye, then two eyes. One eye was like it was peeping out from behind a tree.
Oh, we go.
Oh, we've just lost Dan.
We've lost Dan.
Oh well.
Keep going.
Yeah, it was just peeking out from behind a tree. It looked like. Anyway, it really stood out. It was really, yeah, it really stood out,
There we are.
and yeah, very, very noticeable. But I will say, Vlad went out there again during the week to check his
Oh.
research site, and he ran into a wildlife photographer who was camped in our spot, and he'd been there since the night after we left, and he'd been there a week, or coming up for a week, and when Vlad questioned him about any happenings around in there, he ended up making note of a lot of, well, Vlad said red eyes, and indicating that they were greater gliders, and that's a real stronghold habitat for greater glider. But when I looked at it, what a greater glider's eye shine looked like, I realised that it was. It's orange. It's not red.
And they're much closer together. And at that distance, I don't think they'd be as large as what we saw.
Yeah. So, but it leaves me in a conundrum though, because I can't definitely say that it was a Yowie, and I'm not going to, because I don't want to end up like I put it down to could quite possibly have been a Yowie, but as long as somebody else indicated they were seeing lots of red eyes around the campsite, and it is a stronghold for the greater glider. But like I said, I'm left with a difference in colours. Ours was bright red and large, and the greater glider comes off as more orange in eye shine. So, yeah, but the only thing that made me think we might be on the money with those eyes was, I mean, I went to bed and I was tired, and I slept like a log. But where your tent was located was right over near where the eye shine was seen. So it made sense to me that there'd be, if there was going to be any interaction with a tent, it was going to be you.
Yeah. And I was kept up. Yeah. That's
the orange eye shine. When I say red, I mean cherry red. It was bright red.
And much bigger, in my opinion, and further spaced apart than that.
Yeah, so
and we
totally
also
different colour.
We didn't see any other greater gliders that night. We saw some possums, but we didn't. With the spotlight, we didn't see, any gliders anywhere else. Which was a bit strange as well. But I was kept up. I was kept up till 5 a.m. With things happening around me, hearing footsteps, and we'll go through it all. But that leads me to think it was possibly not a greater glider, but I still can't rule it out either.
One thing I want to say is, Rochelle, how many times have you been out camping in the bush like that before that night? By yourself, in a tent by yourself?
No, not a handful of times. I haven't been a huge amount.
Okay, so because what I'm getting at is, I'm just trying to see what you sent me. Was here we go, I've got them now. So you were saying at 11:30 and 12:18 and 12:20 and 12:30 and everything kind of like that. So when I first started going out, which was after 2005, and I'd really never, well, not really, I'd never been out in the bush. And even little bush mice that are like 2 or 3 inches long would sound like they're like massive. And they do that because you're thinking everything's going to be quiet, and you hear these rustling, and then you're like, there's something big out there. You think it's like a big dog because your mind gets the better of you, thinking it's something massive, but it's not. And until I got brave enough to go zip and get out and have a look and go, oh, it's just a mouse. And I'll be like, middle of the night going, I thought it was like this massive creature, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So how many of these things that you said you think that you were writing down the saying you can hear gravel crunching, you heard wood knocks. Well, wood knocks is a bit hard to it's something that it's either a wood knock or it's not. But you said you had footsteps, tree snaps, you had weird noises.
I definitely heard what sounded
all
like
that kind of thing. So how many of the night would you say, looking back at it now?
No, he's frozen again. I think I know where he's going with this. I am not going to rule out, I'm not going to say that any of it was I'm not going to say that, you know what I mean? I can't make any judgments of any of these noises. I didn't get out. I was personally very, very scared that night, and I didn't get out of my tent and have a look. At 11:30, the first thing that happened was I heard very clear what sounded like bipedal footsteps. Oh no.
Hey, I think it's just that storm that's sorry, Rochelle, I think it's that big storm that's going over your area. It's just doing this.
There's no storm above me now.
There is a bit of storm activity around this area. So
your area.
Anyway, so what I was saying
I know where you're going with it, Dan. But yeah, I'm not gonna rule out. I'm not gonna say any of it was a Yowie. I'm not gonna say, I don't know what any of it was. I didn't get out of my tent because I was scared shitless, and I can't. I didn't put my eyes on anything, so I can't say that any of it was definitely a Yowie. But the first thing that started off the night was what sounded like very clear bipedal footsteps that walked directly up to my tent, and at about above my shoulder height, I saw a hand being brushed and pushed in on my tent, quite high up, like towards the roof of my tent. Now, you can stand up in my tent.
Your tent's pretty big. That's the one. Yeah.
It's a big tent, and you can stand up in it. And it, at my shoulder, above my shoulder height, it would have been something. I saw clear fingers, and very quickly, but very, very definitely was like a hand that pushed in and swept along the side of my tent quite high up. So that was sort of the start of it all. And I was, but I'm not going to say that all of it was a Yowie, and I'm not going to say, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be one that makes up.
Yeah. I understand. I can see where you're coming from, because when I was out in camped on the Coral Knife Edge, which is between Mount Solitary and the Wrong Castle. So you go past the Wrong Castle, and then it goes up, and there's the tracks all kind of eroded away, and there's all these roots sticking out from the trees in the area. And by the time you hike in there, you're pretty buggered, and you get up there, and on the top of that is a camping area. And this was in January 2014, and we were Heath and myself were sitting there, and we could hear footsteps either side of the ridge, but they were going back and forwards, like. But it wasn't one; it was two or three each side, and they were pacing back. So one would go that way, the other one would go that way, and then they go back. So it's like having soldiers looking, I
say there was a minimum of three. If they were Yowies, there would have been a minimum of three. So, I would hear them, one in the car park, crunching gravel clearly. I would hear one behind me, and then I might hear one, over near our need Dave and Vlad. You know, like I was hearing them all around, and and I live in the country, and I am used to hearing a lot of animals out at night, and I do understand things sound bigger than what they are, but this was different. This was very clear. Bipedal footsteps. One at one point circled around my tent 3 times. Now, I don't know what animal would do that. I don't know. I heard voices that sounded very similar to the Sierra recordings, the Sierra sounds. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they were recorded in like the 60s or so, weren't they? And only heard it for like 5 seconds or so, but there was definite voices that were speaking in a language sounding thing, and very similar to the Sierra recordings. And yeah, I don't know what it was. I also heard what sounded like voices, in the old transistor radios. And I heard voices that sounded like it was on a transistor radio. And Jason said earlier in the night that he also heard that, and he thought a car was approaching, but there was no car. But yeah, it sounded like sort of that that the voice, that how voices would come over on an old transistor radio. What that would sound like. And that went on for about 10, 20 seconds or 15 seconds. So yeah, I was hearing a lot of things that were, just sort of didn't make sense, at the time. And this is why I just wrote everything down. I tried recording it with my phone. It wasn't picking up the noises. So, and I did try I had the parabolic mic, I had the IR camera, I had all the tech gear, in my tent. I did try the parabolic mic at night, but it didn't pick up anything, because I didn't want to, I was so scared I didn't want to put down the window in my tent. Oh, he's gone again. So, I didn't pick up anything through. I had the barrier of the tent material, so that's why I didn't pick up anything with the parabolic. But I did try, but I was absolutely too scared to put down just the window in the tent. It does have one. It has 2 windows with mesh and that, and I could have put it down, but I was honestly petrified.
It does happen when you're out in the bush. When you're out in the bush by yourself, when you, even though there's people that you're camping with and they're 10, 20 meters away, you're still like,
well, they were like,
what's that?
Yeah, they were like 40 meters. I reckon you were probably like 30 meters. What do you reckon? 30 meters away from me. Dave, as we go to bed, said, just scream for me. I discovered that, there's flight, fright, or freeze. What did I say? Flight, fight, or freeze. I froze. I just freeze. And I'm just huddled in bed, and I was not screaming or anything. It honestly, the noises that, I was having pebbles repeatedly thrown at my tent. And that you would hear like a whole heap hit at once on the back side of my tent. It was a weird night. It was a very weird night.
So what about you, Dave? What did you hear? Anything or see anything? What was your night like?
Only the eye shine. I only saw the eye shine, and I went to bed earlier, and left Rochelle to fend for herself. And
thanks.
Yeah, so
that's why he's a bastard.
But I'm also a bit funny at that campsite. I like to sleep next to the creek because I like the sound of the moving water. But I was out like a light, mate. Nothing would have woken me up.
But you also did tell me that you thought you heard footsteps and you thought it was Vlad, but Vlad said he never got up during the night.
Yeah, no, I thought I heard footsteps in the car park in the gravel, but I thought it was Vlad. Yeah.
So, and I was hearing footsteps in the gravel. And as also, Jason, who was there, Jason came and he stayed till what, 10:30 or so.
Yeah,
His
just
mate,
before.
his mate saw a Yowie 3 meters away from him in the car park at this campground. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, looks like we're going there next week.
Oh, look, I tell you, Dan, if
I'm up for it.
Dan, like that eye shine, I'm just a bit upset that this fella reported seeing the greater gliders there in numbers. But the night we were there, like I said, they were bright red. They were up above the ground, a good height, not as in up a tree, good height, but and yeah, no, if there was no other distractions to that side, I'd say definitely it was a Yowie. But
And
I
also, it was
can't do that.
standing. Sorry, Dave. It was standing between trees at one point as well. Like the eyes were clearly in between two trees. And there was no, when I looked in the daytime, there was no trees behind it, like big trees or, I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
kind of lean towards it not being a greater glider, but maybe some, I don't know.
Anyway,
Well,
Rochelle.
the other thing that
Sorry, I was just going to say, Rochelle, do you own a pair of these? Because maybe you should, because if you get scared again, you get it and you give it a good thonging.
Right. I'll
Smack
get
it
my
with
heavy
thong.
armors out.
All right? Get the thong out.
Okay.
And smack
Next
it with
time.
thong. That'll give you, thongs give you confidence.
Right. I'll bring them next time, I promise.
Super interesting night. I think it was a more interesting night for you, Rochelle, but it doesn't surprise me with where your tent was located.
No.
I was actually quite surprised when you pitched it so far away. I thought, geez, do you think we snore or something?
Oh, my God. You are, dude, Rochelle, you haven't heard both of them snore. Like, I thought.
I heard them. Don't worry.
I thought that Dave was bad, but Vlad, he's just like he's got what's that? What's the megaphone? He is the loudest person I've heard snore in my life.
He
But
was
anyway,
tired.
He was snoring. He was snoring very loudly.
That's why she pitched the tent 40 meters away, Dave. That's why she did.
But yeah, I was closest to there. Yeah, I was closest out of us to where we saw the eye shine. There was a couple that came and they rocked up really late in the evening, and they were even closer to where we saw the eye shine. Now, I spoke to them in the morning and they went to bed really early before even Vlad went to bed. And I spoke to them. They didn't wake up anything. He did. I think the guy there, he got up and did go to the toilet maybe a couple of times during the night, but he said he was in a half dazed, sort of sleep, half asleep. So he didn't notice anything. They didn't hear anything, and they said they weren't talking. I did ask, were they talking during the night around the times I heard these voices? They weren't. They didn't have a radio on. I checked everything with them, and so I don't believe the voices came from them. I did even ask them if they sleep talk. They don't. So yeah, I don't think it came from them. It was, but they were even close up. But I did hear whatever it was. I did actually hear them around their tent. So yeah.
You just made me laugh.
What did I say?
You're asking about if they talk. They could have been doing something else and could have been, and they said, "No, we don't talk."
I think they were telling the truth, but yeah.
Oh, that's I'm just getting people asking me about. We had problems getting on here, saying, "No, I can't see it." So I'm just writing there anyway. All right, Kurtz is just saying, "Congrats on fighting the NB Theatre." So yeah, people trying to get on here. We had to make I had to quickly made it. Few links had trouble earlier. So when are you guys planning to go out again, and where are you planning to go out?
Well, I think the same place is on the list again, Maloon's campground in Talaganda. I think that's definitely on the list. I know Jason and Paul's a new member to our team. And I know Jason, because he didn't get to stay out overnight, he's really wanting to camp out for the night with us. And I believe Shane's wanting to join us as well. Hopefully his leg heals up soon. And I'm sorry, Shane, I forgot about our plans tonight and I stuffed up.
Yeah, sorry, Shane, we're more important.
I don't think it would have been much fun anyway because it is bucketing down. But so I owe Shane one. But yeah, we've got to find a date to go back there. And I think we have a couple other places we'd like to go. Dave, what are you?
Oh, it's a bit up in the air at the moment, but on our Facebook group, our secret Facebook group.
Yeah, why I found out Rochelle dobbed you in, Dave. Dobbed you in. You got to see secret groups, man. What's going on? I think you're the chaser. You are the chaser. You're posting videos every day. You're hiking thongs. You post a video every day because you found your camera. Now you buggered up your tent. You need a new tent. I think you're going out every day, mate. You're the chaser. You opened up a free camping group to get Yowie stories. Come on, Dave. Spit it out. Tell the truth.
Oh, mate, yeah, I'm in the running for a golden thong. Anyway, Dan, no, this group, there's only 5 or 6 members of it. It's just to do with our local meeting.
Thanks for the invite.
That's when we discuss where things are happening, you know. So, you know, Vlad wants to go out there just to do a few nights, not sleep there, just to do a few nights. So,
poor Shane.
That could be on the cards. But yeah, but while the weather's still good, I mean, I'm going to do a winter camp with you in June. So,
well, Rochelle's going to be there, and that's not just me. There's going to be most of your secret group's going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Is that how I get to join the group? Like, do I get a special invite? So, no, you can have a special group.
We're maybe thinking maybe we should invite you to a few places. We would, you know, your thermal might come in handy. So not. Thanks.
Head's itchy. No, but if you want look, honestly, if you're going to go Talaganda, Dave, what's the forecast for the weather for the next week in lovely Canberra?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I'm using my phone at the moment, so I can't check. But I don't know. I believe the Bureau of Meteorology have lost their marbles, and so bad they called an El Nino or whatever it was, and all the farmers raced out and sold off all their stock. And then it rained consistently for the entire summer, and they had more grass than they knew what to do with.
Well, that means you should get on Dave Taylor's weather channel because he's 100% right all the time.
Oh, okay.
So get on Dave Taylor's channel. He only predicts for Brisbane weather, but get on there and he'll send you the right way. All right. But you know, that's what you got to do. What else have we got to chat about? Anything else that's come up in the Yowie world, Dave? That we need to chat about?
Vlad asked me to ask you what's going on with that electronic meter that you and Attila put out.
Oh, that was Attila's, wasn't me. It just made me look like it was really electronically technically like, yeah, I know what's going on and I need bugger all, but I wouldn't mind getting one myself. I've got to speak to Attila about that. Just that, like, I've been busy. Attila's been busy. We were supposed to go out a couple of weeks ago, and I was going to ask him about it, but because I was trying to find his Stratton's amphitheatre, I just went, Attila, I'm not going out. I'm doing this. And it's just too hot. Like, it just seems to be the weekdays are not too hot. It gets to the weekend and it goes, it's 37 degrees. And like, who wants to go out in 37-degree heat? And it's still 26 degrees at night when you're hiking out 5 or 6 or 10 Ks to get out, and you just sweat. It's just not worth it. And it's just dangerous. So that's why I don't really do researching during the summer months. I just do my historical stuff, and I'm the last 5 weeks I've been like hard slog to try and find this area, and I finally found it. And but yeah, I really would like to get one because it picks up different things. Tiller knows how to explain it, but it picks up different wavelengths. Some things could be. It picks up even moving water under the ground, which makes and it gives you like a reading. So I'm gonna look. I know really nothing about it, but I know it can pick up, different things that more than likely some areas will be. Well, Attila explained more likely will have activity than other areas, and it's for something that might cost up to $50 to $100. I might get one, and then just place it around and see what it goes on. And if it starts going up, flickering more than what it should do, and you're getting noises and activity, well, then this is an active area because this thing's showing it, and then you can hear it as well. So it's all trial for me. I'm like, I've only got my thermal, I got my sound dish, and I got my my night vision and all that kind of stuff. But this is something that I've never really done before, so I can't say I'm a expert in it. So it just did make me look good in the video, though, so that was good. But Attila knows all about it, and next time I see him, which will be pretty soon, and I'll ask him about it. So hopefully I may be able to get it and then use it down with you guys as well. I might try and get one before we go out in June, and then we can use it out there and we can see what goes on. I'll just ask Attila where I can get one, and I'll order one in and see how we go from there.
Yeah. They're really fascinating. I'd love to get one for my house, my place here, which Dan, how haunted it is here. It would be fascinating to have here too.
Well, your place, Rochelle, was the only place that I've set up my sound dish, like a professional dish with the Zoom H5. I had everything going. I could hear everything. I hit record. I can hear everything. There's noise and things going on. I just hooked up everything there and let it go. Got back home, and it took a couple of days to look at it, and everything was nothing recorded. There was nothing there was nothing there.
And we also heard voices and different things coming from the bush, weren't we, at the back of my property? I remember we were hearing things, and Attila on his mic, on his boom, on his car thing, he was getting something tapping repeatedly his mic. I don't know if you remember that, Dan, but
Attila and myself went down that trail down the back, and then we saw some kind of like movement, like a black shadow thing, and we ended up going up, and that was where the potato farm is, and we went up there, and it shot up there, but it wasn't like 4 legs, it was on 2 legs, and it was like shot up there, and what's that? But we didn't say it was, we never thought it was a Yowie. It was just like we seen so many weird things, like some like a paranormal thing. It was like, what the hell is this? And it was pitch black out there, so we ended up coming back, and then we sat down and put the recorders on, and the only thing I recorded was that wombat in the next yard with the thermal. But with the sound dish, that's the only place that hasn't worked, and I've set it up the same way I've done heaps of times, and I was just like, oh well, that was crazy that. But
yeah, and you had the footsteps behind you in the bush, and you saw the orb. And I've seen orbs out the front of my property. I've got them on video. And then Attila and his wife Andrea and her colleague Sharon, they came back a month later and did a paranormal investigation at our house, and that was even more insane.
You guys. You told me all about that. So you've had a lot of activity, and you said there's a black panther in the area. It's been seen, and
Seen that twice. Yeah.
yeah. And then you said that there was like weed screaming up the side of your house that one time where the driveway is, because
Oh yeah, and that was that box. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had a few weird things going around the area. Well, so when you live near the bush, that's what happens, and you gotta I did make a video a few years ago about different noises that animals make, both native and non-native, and it's not all of them, but even like a little platypus makes a growling noise, and if you hear that at night, you're not going to think, "Oh, that's a platypus," but so it's pretty weird. So anyway, before we go and anything else that you want to chat about before we say goodbye tonight?
No, it's been pretty quiet, apart from I was shocked to see that some people are running scam Facebook groups, nothing to do about Yowies, but the whole purpose of them is to get Yowie reports. So I
Free Camping Australia by the Chaser.
Very dishonest to the people that are joining the group. That's
very.
group.
Well, shows you how low he'll go. So he's just an absolute idiot, and that's why he won the Golden Thong 2 years in a row. But I don't think he's got a hate, because Rod Benfield, what's going on with old Roddy? Roddy said he's got all this stuff, got a picture, going to get a documentary. Nothing else has been said. It's been, what, a month now or something? And nothing's been said.
Are you going to comment on Stets's documentary?
Oh, well, it's not a documentary. Old Stets is, it's entertainment. So it's not a documentary.
No.
Look, give me a sec. I have got... Hopefully, I can show you guys what the actual producers say that it is. It's only entertainment. I just got to see if I can put it. Well, anyway, Stets was not talking about any footage that he's actually got. He's talking about this Leona Bunk or whatever name is footage. And she actually says that... I've got it here now. Just give me a sec. I just want to...
The Yowie princess makes a deep guttural man-like noise. Old mate Wayne is the best photographer.
I'm just trying to get something so I can show you guys this. Just give me a second. But yeah, he did speak onto it, and he was saying that the Yowies are related to gorillas and they're descendants from gorillas. So
news to me.
That's just something that I just went, what the hell is he on? How does he know this? Like really, come on, Anyway, I'm just going to send this so I can show you this.
They look like gorillas, so therefore they descended from gorillas. So you can't fault that logic, mate. That's,
I don't know, but a gorilla's no, I can't see that. I can't see it. He's clutching at straws. He's clutching at straws. All right. So what I'm going to show now is a screenshot from the producers. Where is it? All right. So hopefully you can. Can you guys see this?
Yep, I can.
So it says that it's not a documentary. It just says this program is for entertainment purposes only. Doesn't say it's a documentary. So he's saying it's a documentary. So anyway, he was actually he got. So what happens when you're in a documentary? The people that make it will send you a link and say, keep it to yourself, don't show it, because they're making money from this and they're sending it to the Discovery Channel or Amazon Prime or anything like that. So what good old matey Stets did was put it on his Yowie group to get a big bloody head to say, look at me, what do you think of the documentary? It's not a documentary. It's just the people that are going, oh, wow, look at that. Well, what credibility have they got? How many times do they go out in the Australian bush? The only one that had a bit of knowledge, or not really knowledge, like he had a level-minded head, was the bloke that said, look, I don't know what it is. It could be a guy in a gorilla suit. It could be a Yowie. We don't know. You can't see what it is. And when Stets actually went to the location, all he did was stand in a tree and go, look how tall I am to this. He didn't try to go around and prove there's a barbed wire fence that they talked about. It stood over the fence. And when there was a pan to the right, when they've actually cropped it now, but when it got first put up, you pan to the right, there's no bush there at all. It's open area. That bit of bush just kind of comes out. So it's all been staged. I can see so many red flags in that one, and I won't go through it too much, just ear bashing, but it's not a documentary, and the guy just sounded like a real bogan, mate. If everyone thinks all Aussies sound like him, oh man, we're in some trouble. I'm telling you now. It's just I've been around like with Dave been in the Yowie world, as I say it, and seen so many people come in, which I call blowflies. They turn up, they cause heaps of trouble and havoc and think they know everything in 2 seconds. The next minute they're gone. And other ones stick around like a piece of shit on the wall. They just stay there and they won't go. And that's obviously the Chaser and Buddy and Stets and that. They just get there and just cause trouble. And that's all they do. Sorry about that. But yeah, they don't look at Stets. Where does he go hiking? Where does he go out in the bush? Where does he go camping? How many sound recorders does he place? Does he place any control cameras out? Has he got any gear up in his mobile phone and goes click, click, click? What's he doing? He's doing nothing. He's just getting other people to post stuff, and then he spooks about other people's stuff. He doesn't do his own thing. And then he goes 2 meters off the road, and there's people that put sticks up against the tree, and he goes, oh, look at this structure. Like, come on, mate. Like, really? Anyway, I won't talk much more about that. But other than that, that's going to be our Everything Yowie for tonight. And I'll thank both Dave and Michelle for joining me, even though we had a few problems. There's always problems happen, but we got there in the end. And we will work out a time to go out soon before June, the long weekend. I think it's called the King's birthday long weekend. Then we'll Queen, and there might be another. There might be a new king soon. You never know.
Yeah.
So you never know. So what we're going to do is end it here now. And you never know, Rochelle. Anything else comes up, we'll get you on again. And we'll talk about what's.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. And I'm going to go and watch Maths Married at First Sight because I think that is the funniest show. Other than watching Stets sing on the internet. So anyway, I'll say good night. And what I always say, always hiking dogs. All right, guys. Thanks very much. I'll catch you all later.
Thank you. Bye.